And the column 1, 2 and 3 are the existing consort descriptions. Column column 1 gives you the entire checklist, that is the 20 points. And the last column is what needs discussion, because these are the points that we have added on to the existing guideline. So, yes, point number 1 would be find the trial as Ayurveda. So, PubMed, for example, has a mesh term Ayurveda, but whenever you search Ayurveda, how many of actual Ayurveda trials turn up? So, if the title itself has a point which says that it is an Ayurveda intervention, yes. And similar to what the concept says, the title can reveal the aim of the study and the nature or design of the study and the study population. So more often than not, we see Virechana for Dhamma-Vishwasa was done, right? Purgation was given in case of Dhamma-Vishwasa. But then, which is the actual avastha, or which is the actual stage of the disease when you give Virechana? Definitely not in an acute condition where you rather go for Vamana to clear up the respiratory system, right? So if the title itself contains these three, the aim of the study, the nature and design of the study, and the study population that we've involved, it helps to classify, or it is better for us while searching for trials. And in the background, what is a disease? So define the disease as per Ayurveda, or define it according to Western biomedicine. And if there is an attempt for correlation, that needs to be highlighted in the background. And justification for selection of a particular problem and rationale for selection of the intervention that has been used, these need to be highlighted in the background.
Do you want me to wait for the comments or comment on this?
Maybe, some of these points might get addressed during the whole thing. So wait till the end.
I can always come back to these slides.
Yes, we have the slides.
All right.
Yeah. So the participants, the eligibility criteria for the participants, as in include them based on the Roga Pariksha, that is the Nidara Panchakas, or include them based on the Rogi Pariksha or both. So either ways, whatever has been selection criteria, like I was saying, just don't try to fit in your patients to whatever is the Western biomedicine's description of the disease or labeling of the disease. So if you can use your own or develop your own standards for inclusion criteria or exclusion criteria, which keeps in mind these two important aspects which all clinicians regularly use for selecting the patients while treating diseases or selecting the treatments for a particular patient. Those need to be mentioned. And the locations, that is the type of the center whether it is a primary, secondary, tertiary care center and so on. The important thing here would be the desha. The same treatment that is given in the northern parts of India might not actually work when given in the southern parts of India due to the geographical variations that we have. So if at all your trial has been done in one particular area of the country or one particular area of which is probably different climatically, then it makes sense to have details regarding that. Same with reference to the Rutu. If you have done your treatments in Varsha Rutu, do not expect the same changes in a different season. So seasonal variations are going to affect the outcome of the treatments. So those need to be mentioned. And next one.
Can you go back now? So you agree with the herbal medicinal product name? Latin name? I'm asking.
Yes.
Is that what you all use, the Latin name? Yes?
Yes.
Because that is what is currently available as something that is uniform. For example, if you take Gamhari, there is Desmodium Antheticum. Shalaparni. If I were to use Shalaparni, there is a certain species that is used in South India and and another species that is used in North India against the same Sanskrit word. Or there are a lot of different botanical names that are associated with one Sanskrit name.
I understand, that's why I asked the question.
Lemon names. Therefore, Latin names are easier. For example, Vidanga. There are at least 4 herbs that are traded.
Whichever is the species that's being used, if the Latin name is there, it's easier for us to identify.
But your point is well taken. It's fine, I just wanted to check.
Since we have restrictions for words and things like that, if the formulation has multiple ingredients, then it probably can go as an appendix for the study. And if multiple, see the dosage, regimen and quantitative description. So if multiple formulations, multiple ingredients and different batches, so details of these need to be provided. Manufacturer details, product, license number, batch number, all these can be given as a tabular form, and that could also be an online supplement.
The classical preparations, even the classic is the same name, but the text is different. So the ingredient used to change.
Yes.
So whether we have to put the name or the reference. That's also
Reference from which it's been taken. And placebo or control group. So how was we had the study and in first so we had first example wherein we could also convert classical preparations into placebo form. This was something which had never been attempted before. So if at all we are going to do it for further clinical trials when we do need a placebo, then yes, if they can be prepared very similar to the classical preparation and then tested, it helps. In guidelines for treatment, what was the Chikitsa Sutra which is being followed in the current study? That whether the algorithm is similar to what is already explained in literature, or is it a new algorithm which the physician has come up with based on his practice? If so, prescribe all those and give importance to equal weightage to all. That is the Aushadha component, the Ahara, the food component, the diet and lifestyle changes that we necessarily give to the patient, and also the Panchakarma procedures, if any, need to be described in detail. And under those, you need to describe all the preparatory procedure of the Purva Karma, the Pradhana Karma, as well as the Vasya Karma. So more often than not, we see that Virechana has been given. That's it. There is no detailing of how many days of Snehapana were given to the patient, or how many days of Samsarsana Karma, post-treatment, whatever was done to the patient. There are no details regarding that. Or the exact dosage. What was the matra of the Sneha which was given, or what was the matra of the Virechana Travaya. If we take a cross section of 30 people, definitely we would do an assessment of the posture of the person before deciding the matra of the Virechana or Travaya. So those details need to be described, and it can be provided as a flow chart, starting from Purva Karma and ending with Samsatana Karma, the number of days given, the number of formulations which were used, or the dosage of the formulations which were used, and all the Panchakarma intervention medicines need to be described. And details of diet and lifestyle, that is the Patya and Apatya which were advised to the patient, and also details of the personal, this qualifications of the personal, whether we have we have the 4 Chikitsa Chatushpada, Vishak, Dravya, Upasthata and Rogi. So if all the 4 details are described here with the ancillary staff details, like who was involved in giving the therapies, were they qualified, were they trained, all these details are recorded. And this is the main thing that we were having a lot of discussion about, the outcomes. Whether we are going to use the Ayurveda endpoints, if so, how can we define these Ayurveda endpoints? Do we come up with our own scaling and grading criteria for certain symptoms based on symptoms of a particular disease? Or do we just use what is already existing? For a simple thing as pain, which already has a visual analog scale, you would probably not need to design something of your own. you could use which is already standardized. But there may be another symptom or there may be another set of symptoms which need to actually be validated by coming up with a scale. And if the Ayurveda endpoints are being used, then scales have to be explained using symptomatology explained in Ayurveda, and its reliability and validity needs to be established. Another thing that we could see is the pain may not actually come down greatly, but then the quality of the life of the patient can improve, which more often than not we capture using the Swasthya measures. But do we actually do these in our trials? More often than not, we do not do this. So if Swasthya measures can be incorporated, and could there be a chance that we divide the Lakshanas as Pratyatma Lakshanas and Anubandha Lakshanas, or the main feature of the disease and the secondary features of the disease? That is another point. And if at all modern endpoints are being used, a credible explanation or correlation, a hypothesis regarding why these endpoints are being used. And any changes to the trial after the trial comes. This is definitely true in case of Ayurvedic trials. You start Snehapana, some patients get Samyak Sthita Lakshana on the 4th day. Some you need to go up to the 6th day. Or in some cases, there may be some yoga and you may need to stop the procedure. So if at all there have been any changes to the trial after the trial has begun, those need to be noted down. And like I said before, all the Ayoga, Ati Yoga and Samyak Yoga Lakshanas of all the procedures, Samsasana Krama, and a measurable outcome of the Panchadharma interventions. If you have the Maniki Shuddhi Lakshanas, Lainiki Shuddhi Lakshanas, Antiki Shuddhi Lakshanas, can this be actually measured? So this is with regard to the design of the study, that is the randomization, the selection of the sample size. Most of the time we would want to retain this as it is, but we would probably be adding some things to the blinding, in the sense that most of the time it's difficult to blind Ayurvedic trials. So we need to come up with some details regarding how blinding can be done effectively, and is blinding required? That would be one of the questions we would want to answer. You won't take it to stand. So this is to where we need some discussions. So probably we could go back to the slides. The other things are as they are in the guidelines. So this is just a checklist. So we are going to have an extension and elaboration document, which will again go into details regarding each of these checklist items. So therein we will be explaining more in detail regarding all the others. So this is just a small.
I would request Ramanuji to give the editor's response and he can give this. I also want to tell you that Dr. Ramanohar has been involved in this process from the initial days. So is Dr. Abhimanyu Kumar. So we have been having this consultative process that involves the editors of Ayurvedic journals and also prominent clinical researchers. So it's a collective inputs that has gone into this one.